time for And the Winner is Motorsports Show, a production of the ETV Live Auto Sports Entertainment Network. Get ready for 2 fun-filled hours of racing dialogue, race results, commentary from drivers, promoters, sponsors, media dignitaries, and much, much more. And now, the racing devil, Mike Neff, and the ringmaster of motorsports, Wesley Outland. This is And the Winner is Motorsports Show.
Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Happy New Year to one and all, and welcome to the 2013 new edition of And the Winner is Motorsports Show, a broadcast of ETV Live Online Auto Sports Entertainment Network, powered by the fine folks at HD Radio Network. I'm Wesley Outland, the ringmaster of motorsports, and before we go any further, I certainly hope that everybody had a great Christmas holiday season, spending it with all of your family and loved ones, and had a great Happy New Year. And it's amazing how fast time flies by. It seems like we were 2-3 weeks ago, we were parting ways for the final show of 2012 for And the Winner Is, and now we're ready back in the saddle again. And I'll tell you what, we've got a great show lined up for you tonight. We've got some great guests lined up to be on the program. My co-host, the Racing Devil, Mike Neff, will be here momentarily. He is caught up with something else at the moment, but he will be here. He's already contacted me via text. He will inform me whenever he is ready to come into the broadcast, and we just cannot do And the Winner Is without my sidekick cohort and crazy wild man, Mike Neff, helping me along the way. And again, it's going to be a great one. I hope everybody had an outstanding New Year, and we hope that tonight you join us for the first sim race of 2013. That's right, it's the RSR Icebreaker Rental Series, 150 laps from the Rockingham Speedway. Join me and JD Webb for the call, 9:20 Eastern on ETV Live, and also on ETV Live Radio, powered by HD Radio Network from the Rockingham Speedway. It should be an exciting event. My normal broadcast partner, Michael Keaton, has took off tonight to go support his Alabama Crimson Tide in the Discover BCS Championship football game between the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and, of course, the Alabama Crimson Tide tonight. And he is he's a big football lover of the Alabama team, so he's supporting his football colors tonight. So, therefore, me and J.D. Webb, Cowboy himself, will be calling the action in the booth. And I'll tell you what, we've got a great show. Want to remind you, by the way, we're located on 6 different affiliates: Windows Media Guide, iTunes Radio, TuneIn Radio, HDRadioNetwork.com, ETVLive-ePlay.net, and of course, log on to them, download the apps on your phones if you're mobile, and you can be able to pick up all of the great action from ETV Live Online Auto Sports Entertainment Network. Because again, we are ready for a great edition of And the Winner is Motorsports Show. It is going to be an exciting show tonight. Man, I'm telling you what, we have really worked very hard in the last couple of days to get the guest lineup that I have prepared for tonight's season opener for 2013 of And the Winner is Motorsports Show. First off, when we come back from break, we'll be talking to Eddie Davis from Alabaster, Alabama. He is the voice of the Talladega Short Track and a damn good friend of mine. He will be on the program recapping all of the action of the 22nd annual Ice Bowl at the Talladega Short Track in East Tioga, Alabama, adjacent next door to the Talladega Super Speedway. He'll be on to recap the racing of that event, and into that same segment, we will bring on the Ice Bowl 22 winner of his first time in his career, the number 47 Rocket out of Talladega, Alabama, Mr. Ross Martin. Ross Martin pocketed the big $6,000 payday, winning Ice Bowl 22 yesterday. Also in the program, we will also have in hour number 1, the Red Eye 100 winner in the Super Late Models at New Smyrna Speedway in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Stephen Nassy in the number 51 Chevrolet Ford will be on the program to talk about his victory at New Smyrna, winning the Red Eye 100. Then we'll go to some more great racing action from Dillon Motor Speedway in Dillon, South Carolina, and the New Year's Day 300 $2,000 Street Stock Challenge winner, Mr. Gary Ledbetter Jr. from Hickory, North Carolina, or Lexington, North Carolina, will be on the program. And then we'll go into hour number 2. 30 minutes with the voice of the ASCS Lucas Oil Sprint Car Series. ASCS Lucas Oil Sprint Car Series presented by MAV TV from Tulsa, Oklahoma, actually Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Brian Hulbert, he's one of the announcers of the Chili Bowl. We will be previewing the 27th Annual Chili Bowl Nationals from the Tulsa Expo Center in Oklahoma in hour number 2. And finally, to close out the show, our final guest of the night, Speed TV personality, announcer of AMA Supercross, NASCAR. He also is the editor and the new owner of National Speed Sport News from Charlotte, North Carolina, Ralph Shaheen. I remember tuning in to Ralph Shaheen a long time ago when I was a kid watching NASCAR on television. So that's just how big of a name Ralph Shaheen is in motorsports. And he's a good friend of mine, and I'm delighted to have Ralph Shaheen on the program. And I'm also delighted now to bring into the broadcast for 2013, for the first time this year, the Racing Devil, Mike Neff. You got to do it better than that, Mike. Come on, you've had 3 weeks off.
Dude, that's all I got, man. I've been working on.
How you been, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good, brother. Doing pretty good. Arms and hands are a little bit tired. I've been working on my comprehensive short track racing schedule for this coming season, and I've been doing a lot of typing.
The comprehensive short track schedule.
I do a short track schedule, and any of our listeners that have short tracks that they go to and attend that have their schedules out there, send them my way. I compile it all into a giant document. Last year I did a Word document. This year I got smart and I did it in a spreadsheet. And every Friday we send out, as part of our daily newsletter from Front Stretch,
right?
Fridays we have a short track section.
Oh.
And as part of that column, I put in all of the upcoming races for the upcoming week. And for a year or two, I did it like on the fly when I would compile the column. And I spent the better part of 8 to 12 hours putting the thing together every week. So I got smart last year and compiled all the stuff over the winter so that I didn't have to do it every week and I could just copy and paste. And so this year I'm getting even smarter doing it in a spreadsheet. But I've been working on it for about, I don't know, on and off for 6 weeks probably, ever since people started putting out their schedules. And right now I have 2,875 lines.
Wow.
in the schedule. That depending on who's put stuff out, I've got like World of Outlaws stuff is all in there. Stuff, a bunch of passes in there. Viper schedules in there.
Right.
USAC CRA midgets. I do not have the actual CRA schedule yet. And I've got it all sorts of tracks: Kentucky Motor Speedway, Houston Motorsports Park, Hickory, Hermiston Super Oval, Elko, Dixieland Dirt Track, County Line, Central Arizona, Canyon Speedway. I got the Power Eye schedule in there already. So I just keep plugging away, and it's going to get real busy here in the next couple weeks because there's a whole bunch of them that come out by the end of January.
No doubt about it.
So,
hey, I want to send a big shout-out also to James Petty. James Petty tuning in to the chat box. No, you are not late whatsoever, buddy. We appreciate you for tuning in. No, actually, that was from a previous race, I believe. It was in the chat box, and James, you are late. But, hey, if there's anybody that's in the chat box and they want to communicate with any of the guests that we have on tonight, or with me or Mike Neff, you can simply send a message in the chat box, and we'll pass it along to you. And Mike Neff, we've got something even better than that. If you want to be a part of And the Winner Is Motorsports Show in 2013, all you simply got to do is call 317-489-9388. And you can actually call in. You can talk to the guests we have on the show. You can talk to me and Mike, and so you can rant and rave with Mike Neff if he says something to make you mad, or vice versa. A new fan interactive feature we have on the show, Mike.
317-489
9388.
9388. That was 317-489-9388.
Absolutely. And if you
Call in soon, 317-489-9388.
Absolutely.
So if you ever go to any of those marketing classes, they tell you have to repeat something 3 times before people truly hear it.
Absolutely. Yes.
So that's why I said the number 3 times. So there you go.
Jed Dryer.
And I've now written it down
Yeah.
so I can get it tattooed on my forehead so when people ask me, they'll be able to read it.
Absolutely. Jet Driver says, now that's funny. I don't care who you are. We appreciate you tuning into the show, Jet Driver, whoever you are. And again, as I said, we got that new fan interactive feature where you can call in and be a part of the program. And also, I got off the phone with Jason Short from Short Ray Real Estate Incorporated today. And I just want to let everybody know that they are putting a prize pack together to be coming up here very soon on And the Winner Is Motorsports Show. And Mike Neff will be giving away a prize pack, which includes the bumper stickers, the armbands, T-shirts.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to give away a house. That'd be awesome.
No.
It's a realty company. You can give away a house. That'd be okay.
You're out of your mind. People got to make a living, Mike.
Well, yeah, but think of all the people we'd have paying attention to the show if they had a chance to win a house.
That's true.
I'd listen.
Right.
I'd listen.
But anyhow, what do you say we take a break for our first segment? Coming up, we will get on the line Eddie Davis from the Talladega Short Track. He's the voice of the Talladega Short Track in East Aboga, Alabama, to recapture and re-highlight Ice Bowl 22 at Talladega this past weekend. Over 300 cars in attendance for a 4-day weekend, Mike Neff. I was even invited to go down there, and just at the last minute, I just got so swamped with everything I had going on with Fast Track PR and everything else, I decided not to go. But Eddie Davis will be joining us, and we'll talk to him. And then as soon as we finish chatting things with Eddie, then we'll also bring in Ross Martin, the driver of the number 47 Super Late Model who won the Ice Bowl. A lot of great racing going on also all over the country, Mike Neff, especially down in the South. You got the Chili Bowl Nationals. We're going to have Brian Holbert from the ASCS Sprint Car Racing Series on. He's also one of the announcers of the Chili Bowl. He'll be on to talk about that, a big event. And I want to acknowledge another big race going on, the 6th annual Central Arizona Speedway Wild West Shootout. And the Empire Executioner, Tim Fuller, won the race the other night on Saturday night in Arizona. And last night, Don Shaw put on an awesome race, Mike, on coming in the later stages of the Super Late Model race. Billy Moyer, Mr. Smooth, who normally never slips up or fails, had an issue, hit the cushion going out of turn 2, and in the process, Don Shaw from Minnesota was able to pull the upset and win a wild race at Arizona last night.
Wow. You don't usually, like you said, you don't see Moyer mess up very often. That's surprising.
No, you don't. No, you don't. So, of course, that is some of the action that's going on. And I'm pretty certain Mike Neff will, while the show continues along, we'll kind of compile some of the race results we have from around the country. But, you know, Mike, that's like, you know, the producer, John Westling, we got to give a shout out to him. Magic Fingers in Indianapolis, Indiana, John Westling. J.D. Webb, the executive producer, also tuned in as well. But that's one thing that we got to say is that, number one, John called me the other night and he's like, I know, what are we doing the show for? There's no racing going on. I was like, whatever, man. There's all sorts of stuff going on with racing, Mike. I mean.
Heck yeah.
Yes, sir. Florida has not even took off any with racing, except for maybe Christmas and New Year's, and you saw they're right back at it at New Smyrna this past weekend.
Well, even that, they still are doing the big go-kart deal at Daytona.
Absolutely.
I mean, they do that. They've been doing that since I was a little kid over Christmas every year.
Definitely.
I think they pushed it back a week this year, but it's still it's where you go with the WKA, whatever your you're wanting to go to the Nationals, you go to Daytona over Christmas.
Absolutely. They are the foundation of motorsports in karting, and that's the World Karting Association. And, you know, I'd like to get Buddy Long and somebody from the WKA on the show sometime this year for 2013. I got a lot of big ideas, Mike Neff. I'd like to cover more than just, you know, just the roundy round stuff for dirt and asphalt. I want to cover drag racing. I want to cover Munster trucks. I want to cover, you know, Supercross like we're doing tonight with Ralph Shaheen from Speed Channel being on. You know, he's just fresh in from Anaheim. He announced at Anaheim over the weekend on Speed Channel. So, I mean, I want to cover that. I want to cover tractor pulling. I want to cover – if there's anything motorsports, Mike Neff, in 2013, we need to cover it on And the Winner Is Motorsports Show. What do you think, brother?
I'm with you. I'm with you. Although I'm not too big on the whole road racing thing, but I'll be willing to chime in on it because it's all about the winners. It doesn't say and the go around in circles winner is. It's all about the winners, so we'll cover everybody.
We only been on the air for like maybe 15 minutes in your first smart aleck comment.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm not trying to be smart aleck. I'm not a road racing fan. And so, but we don't have, you know, there's no exclusions on this show, so we'll have some road racing coverage in here. I'm not opposed to it. I'm just not a fan, so I'll have to learn about it. It's just like I've been learning about sim racing. And I'm learning I still don't believe it's a real racing, but I'm still learning about it.
There you go. The night would not be complete without Mike Neff putting in that comment about...
Oh, I got to have a prod at the Sim Boys every week. Come on now.
I understand. Hey, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk to Eddie Davis at Talladega Short Track along with Ross Martin, the winner of the Ice Bowl 22 for the Super Late Models in his number 47 car. We're back on the air, and the winner is Happy New Year to everybody. We'll be right back right after this on ETV Live, powered by HD Radio Network.
ETV Live, always pushing the bar just a little bit further, is proud to introduce ETV Live Radio, supported by the HD Radio Network. ETV Live Radio features classic rock every hour, every day. You can also catch live events such as Race Day broadcast right from the booth, Open Paddock Live at 9:30 p.m. Tuesday nights, The Pit Report on Friday nights at 7 p.m. ETV Live Radio featured in the sports section of iTunes. Get the mobile app from TuneIn.com and look for us on Windows Media Guide. ETV Live Radio on the HD Radio Network.
Shortway Real Estate Incorporated, conveniently located off of intersection I-81 and I-77 in Wytheville, Virginia. Services all of Southwest Virginia in residential, farms, recreational, and commercial properties. The company is owned by Jason and Judy Short. Judy has been in the real estate market for over 15 years and is the broker of Shortway Real Estate. And they have two of the top agents in Southwest Virginia. Their goal is simple: to provide the best customer service and build business on repeat clients. You can get pre-approvals in less than 20 minutes. They have many properties located on over 300 websites nationwide. You can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for customer service guaranteed. And guess what? Licensed in Virginia, they can show you any property listed in the Commonwealth state. They're located at 1205 East Main Street in Wytheville, Virginia. For more details, call 276-223-4018. That's 276-223-4018. Shortway Real Estate Incorporated, reminding you, take the short way home. Welcome back to And the Winner Is Motorsports Show on ETV Live Radio, powered by HD Radio Network. Remember tonight, join me and JD Webb, the cowboy from California. I got a new nickname, John, for JD Webb. He is the California Cowboy. Tonight, in the broadcast booth for the RSR Icebreaker Winter Series tonight from the Rockingham Speedway. Mike, that's going to be exciting from Rockingham.
Shouldn't we call him the Cardiac Cowboy, since he's been having these heart procedures?
See, now why you got to go there and throw him up?
I think that's better, pulling in the fact that he's survived his cardiac stuff and he's back to kick ass and take names. But yeah, it'll be fun to see him run simulated racing at Rockingham. I wonder how fast the tires will really wear out.
He's not running, he's announcing.
But they're racing at the simulated Rockingham.
Yes.
I'm wondering how fast the tires will wear out on the simulated Rockingham.
Okay.
you'll have to fill me in on this.
I definitely will do it. Hey, the chat box is open. If you want to be a part of the program, just simply send in a chat message, and I want to let everybody know there is a new call-in feature, 317-489-9388. The number again is 317-489-9388, and you can call in and be on the show with all the guests we've got lined up tonight. Mike, have we even gone over the list of guests that we have?
I know you mentioned a couple of them, but I don't think we went over the entire list.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, we'll go over it one more time. I think I went over it a little bit just to cover some downtime while we were waiting for you to get here. And the Winter is Motorsports Show back in 2013. First guest, got a great show lined up. Everything you could think of, from dirt to asphalt to NASCAR to Supercross tonight, and even the midget cars for the Chili Bowl Nationals. Hour number 1 kicking off here in just a moment. Eddie Davis, announcer at Talladega Short Track, to talk about a recap of the Ice Bowl 22. And then we'll have on in the same segment Ross Martin, the winner of Ice Bowl 22. Then we're going to have on Stephen Nasse from Florida, winner of the Red Eye 100 at New Smyrna, followed by Brian Holbert from Tulsa, Oklahoma, to talk about the 27th annual Lucas Oil Chili Bowl Nationals in Tulsa. Then we're going to have on Gary Ledbetter, and kicking it in the end with Ralph Shaheen, Speed TV personality. Going to be a great show tonight, Mike.
Awesome as always, and I got to tip my hat to you because you did them all. I did my one person you wanted me to, and then you said we didn't need them till next week. So
yes,
you took care of all of them for this week, and I'm looking forward to every one of them.
Absolutely, and I do want to give a honorable mention to. I do want to give an honorable mention to Derek Pernasiglio. Pernasiglio won the race at Millbridge Speedway in the Mini Outlaws, I believe it was.
Yep, in the open class for the second time in a row.
Okay.
He's leading the winter heat points right now.
Okay, so he won the event, and I want to give him a big shout-out. He done a great job, and we'll get him on next week, okay? We'll get him on the show for next week's And the Winner Is. Derek Pernasiglio, no stranger to talking on the microphone also. So we're going to go now to the phone lines, and we'll get our first guest on the program. And we're going to talk to the announcer of the Talladega Short Track from East Teboga, Alabama. He resides from Alabaster, Alabama, and we're talking to Mr. Eddie Davis. Eddie Davis, how you doing, my friend?
Oh, about wore out, Wesley. Was a long weekend, but hey, it's a good kind of wore out.
Yeah, I'll tell you what an awesome racing weekend at Talladega Short Track, the Ice Bowl. And, man, I just want to tell you again, thank you for the invite, inviting me up there or down there for that race. But I got so caught up, so behind with all the work I had going on with Fast Track. I had to pass you up on it. But, man, we definitely will get together and work one of those shows.
There you go. We'd love to have you anytime, Wesley. Anytime that you want to come down, you're always an invited guest at Talladega Short Track.
Definitely. So let's talk about the Ice Bowl. Where did it come about, the history of it, and, man, over 300 cars in 4 days of racing to kick off. Yes, John Wessling, racing in January. Tell them all about it, Eddie Davis.
All righty. Well, the Ice Bowl actually started, the first race was in, 1991. Got a little trivia. I want to see if you did your homework. Do you know who that winner was?
I want to say it was Dale McDowell. Am I correct?
Nope, Ronnie Johnson.
Ronnie Johnson. It was going to be
Ronnie Johnson won the first Ice Bowl. Anyway, we had a blast. The Ice Bowl's been running. This was the 22nd edition of the Ice Bowl. They did not schedule an Ice Bowl in 1992, but every year since then, it's been running. The first weekend in January is when it is always running, and it's our first premier event of the year.
Absolutely. Mike Neff, somebody wants to say hello to you. Quad Boy says, just want to thank Mike Neff for all the Twitter updates he does throughout the year. They are great for us short track junkies that are too far away to be there.
And is glad to have Quad Boy in there. I always hear from him, especially during the summer shootout at Charlotte. I'm always giving the updates from the summer shootout legend stuff as fast as I can, and I always get some chime-ins from him during it. But I'm curious, Eddie, Was the weather nice this weekend? It seemed like it was a little brisk at night, but as far as the racing time, it seemed like it was some pretty decent weather for you down there in Alabama this weekend.
Well, basically it was. We had a little bit of problem on Saturday night. The rains come in. We thought that they were going to hold off, and right around 5 o'clock on Saturday evening, it started light, and it got heavier and heavier. We were in hopes that we wouldn't lose the track. We did. So the management, we decided some of the factors that, hey, if we could get it run in, yeah, but, after talking to the National Weather Service, it looked like it may be hanging around a little bit, and we got to thinking, well, we don't want to see equipment get torn up, rolling the dice out there and it being a little bit slimy and wound up tearing equipment. So we wound up doing all of our feature events on Sunday. We had slated to run the Cajun mini stock feature and the hot shot feature, and along with the street stock. So we wound up having to do that all on Sunday. But hey, we got everybody out at a reasonable time yesterday. I feel like about 6:30 or 7, and everybody had a blast. The place was packed.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I've got to give big kudos to Preacher Lynn Phillips, who was one of the RPM promoters of the year in motorsports, and definitely a super nice racetrack Talladega Short Track is. And if people have never, ever been out to that racetrack before, I am telling you, you need to make your plans to go out there for not only the Ice Bowl, Mike Neff, but so many of the other great racing events that they have. Now, when me and Eddie Davis first met each other and began the friendship that we've had as race announcer buddies for 3-4 years now, it was during NASCAR Sprint Cup weekend at Talladega, and Eddie, along with the NASCAR boys across the road, Lynn Phillips and everybody at the dirt track at Talladega also try to make that a big show for people to get their dirt racing fix also the same weekend.
Well, it's definitely, NASCAR weekends are definitely where you want to be at, especially at Talladega Short Track, at the Talladega Super Speedway. Some of the Sprint Cup drivers, they do come wandering over. They'll wander to the pits, sort of incognito and stuff. But we'd love to have you out anytime you want to come out. I guarantee you, you're going to have fun.
Mike, I know we're going to get into this over the car count, but how was the car count? Obviously 300 cars, but there was a lot of classes racing. The supers and the crates are the two premier classes. Would you say the car count was fairly decent for the racing in January?
Based on, with the economy, everybody worried about physical cliff, this and that and the other, we were right at 300. Actually, it was 284 cars. But, hey, we were satisfied with that. Love to have seen more cars there. We had a total of 57 super late models sign in.
Right.
And 49 crate late models. And then the limited late models, we had 53 of them, 40 bombers, or thunder cars, if you will, 31 street stocks, 33 Cajun mini stocks, and 21 hot shots.
Wow. Pretty good
Nice.
car count, huh, Mike?
Yeah, that's good. I mean, this time of year, and I know you always push it, you want to have some more racing in the wintertime, but it's a tough time just because this is the time of year when people have got their cars torn apart, and getting guys to have cars ready to get back out there can be a challenge. So it's cool to see that you had that many people show up, and it's always nice getting your fix of racing in the wintertime. I mean, I appreciate that you guys run it just because it gives people a place to go in the middle of January, beginning of January, to go see some racing.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you were there at the track and you didn't have a good time, it was your own fault.
It's your own fault, amen. It's pretty much always that way down in Alabama, though. Anytime I've ever been to Alabama, if you don't have a good time, it's your fault, not anybody else's.
It's kind of like the old slogan, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas or something, right?
I barely could hear you then, Wesley.
No, I said it's kind of like the old slogan with Vegas: "What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas." Kind of the same thing. If you don't like Talladega, it's your own damn fault.
That's exactly right. Really need to give a big thanks to the Southern All-Stars that was officiating the super late model and the limited late model portion. I mean, we had some, of course, our local guys, they put on a great show every week, mainly our super late models, but we had some past Ice Bowl champions there. Frank Ingram was there. Also, Ray Cook come back this year. He was last year's defending champion for the Ice Bowl.
Yeah,
William Thomas was there.
Did Red Farmer run?
Yeah, Red Farmer raced in.
Oh, yes, Red Farmer ran in the crates, and
awesome.
His grandson Lee Burdett ran in the super late models.
Excellent.
Man, I'm telling you, Farmer, he is definitely a talent. That man has probably been running. He's probably been running racing. I don't know how long. Red turned 80 last summer, working on 81. He come up into the tower on Saturday night after it started running, you know, and he was like, "Well, hey, why you already called this? Why are we waiting here?" He says, "I got to go home. I got football to watch." Absolutely.
He is a character, but he returned back on Sunday morning, bells on, and showed up to do business. And he got out there and mixed it up with the guys, and they put on one heck of a show.
Now, I got a question. With you being from Alabaster, Alabama, and you're in the Alabama territory, obviously Talladega Short Track was a big event for the Ice Bowl, but tonight's Alabama's big night to shine with the chance of winning their 4th NCAA football title in 5 years. With with Nick Saban and the folks of the Alabama Crimson Tide, who you picking, Eddie? You picking the Tide to win it tonight?
Well, obviously, that's a no-brainer, Wesley. I tell you what, if the Tide wins it tonight, I hope our governor turns a Tuesday into a state holiday. Signs it tonight.
If they win the game tonight, turn it into a state holiday. What do they call it? Crimson Tide Tuesday or something, or Tide Tuesday?
It would have to be. It would have to be, Wesley. Oh man! Hey, we're going to go over the list of drivers, the champs there, if we got time to do that, Wesley.
Yeah, definitely. Before we go any further, though, I want to pass along our condolences to some people. It seems like another race season started, and we've lost some more great folks. Jerry Williams is a local driver at County Line and Clary's in Fayetteville in the Pure Stock V8 division. His grandfather passed away today, and we'd like to send our condolences from everybody at ETV Live Radio and the Winter Is Motorsports Show. And somebody that we know real well, Eddie, and Mike, you know him as well, the Mac Daddy, Dale McDowell from Chickamauga, Georgia. His father passed away Saturday, and we sent our heartfelt condolences to Dale McDowell and his family for the loss of their dad. So I just want to pass
very much so.
To him. Absolutely. Okay, race results, and let's go back to Eddie Davis to recap the highlights of the Ice Bowl before we have driver Ross Martin on.
All right. Well, starting with the Hot Shot division, that's our front-wheel drive division. Those boys put on one heck of a show. Taylor Gowers of Pell City took home the winnings for that event. And in the street stock division, it's a gentleman by the name of Dustin Holman out of Missouri took home the winnings for that. And the Raging Cajun mini stocks, Cleveland, Tennessee's Jimmy Elliott was the winner of their feature event and drove one heck of a race in the bomber division, Douglasville, Georgia, Justin Shipley. And in the limited late model out of Chatsworth, Georgia, Mr. Aaron Ridley took home the winnings for that event. And in the crate late model out of Chattanooga, Mr. Riley Hickman took home the winnings for the Creighton late models. They had one heck of a race going. Ray Cook leading that event.
Right.
And on the last lap, Ray had a tire go down. And so that Riley Hickman slipped around him and was grinning all the way back around to the front stretch for Victory Lane. And then the big event, which I was proud to see one of the local guys from Talladega Short Track that's there racing his heart out every week. Him and his son, Adam, the big Ross Martin, the raging redneck. When he come out of that car, I don't know how he did it. It's like he just leaped right out of the window on the roof of his car. One happy man.
Absolutely.
One happy fella. And had his grandson right there with him in Victory Lane. I know you're going to be seeing some great photos from Glenn Katauskas and all the photographers there at Alabama. It was one heck of a celebration. I finally left the track about 10:30 this morning coming home, and Ross come back in to pick up his hauler, and we got to stand around and talk a little bit, and that's one happy man right now.
What do you say we bring Ross Martin into the show, guys?
Sounds like a good idea to me.
I say we bring him on into the program. Ross Martin, the driver of the number 47 entry, the Raging Redneck, winner of the Ice Bowl in his first career win. Am I correct?
That is correct. Ross, you there with us?
We're going to connect to him here in just a moment, guys. Just stand by. We're getting ready to get him on the line. And by the way, if you want to call in and talk to the Raging Redneck of Ross Martin, you're more than welcome to call in. The number again on ETV Live Network, powered by HD Radio Network, is 317-489-9388. 317-489-9388. And you can talk to Ross Martin as we have him on the program right now. Ross, it's Wesley Outland, Mike Neff, and another gentleman you know very well, the voice of Talladega Short Track, Eddie Davis. How are you, my friend? And congrats on winning Ice Bowl 22 Sunday at Talladega.
I'm doing great. Thank you very much, man. It meant the world to me.
How did it feel coming out of turn 4, knowing you're coming to the double checkers, and it's like, wow, so many big names have won this event. Guys like Ronnie Johnson and Del McDowell and Ray Cook, and then now etch your name in racing history of some of the top dirt super drivers of the country. You can say, I've won the Ice Bowl.
It was definitely the highlight of my career. Knowing Ray Cook, Billy Ogle Jr., and those guys were there, that was the highlight of my career. It felt really good.
Absolutely. Eddie Davis, you got anything for that you want to say to Ross Martin?
Well, I just want to congratulate him and to tell him thank you for everything that he's done to me. He is one of the first people that I met when I came to Talladega Short Track, and have watched him race here over the past few years and got to know him. Every time you see that man, he's always grinning from ear to ear, and it's just a pleasure to be associated with him.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. And I got to say something else too. Of course, Eddie Davis took the replacement of Perry Holman, who passed away. And Ross, I know you knew him as well as I did for a couple of times in my announcer career. But Perry Holman was, to this day, I would not be hard pressed to say, guys, that there was a presence at that racetrack yesterday. And every time Talladega takes the green flag and opens their doors, and that's Mr. Perry Holman right there in that announcer booth beside you, Eddie Davis. And I got to commend you, because you had a lot of shoes to fill with the passing of such a great announcer.
Well, he was a small man, but he was a small man, but large in stature, I guarantee you.
Absolutely. Ross, what's your thoughts of Perry Holman?
Perry was one of the greatest friends I ever had. I'd run into him at Dixie Speedway, at Columbus. He'd come find me, and Perry was a great man, on the microphone or just walking up in the pits or whatever. You wouldn't find a better man than Perry. But I'm going to tell you, Eddie's doing a fine job. He he really plugs us good there at Talladega, you know, and makes us look good in front of our fans and stuff. And he's doing a great job on the mic too. You know, I couldn't ask for nobody no better than to try to fill a pair of his shoes.
Absolutely. And Mike Neff, I know you've been around racing for a very long time. I know the name Perry Holman's got to be in your repertoire memory of some great talents in the media world too, huh?
No question about it. I mean, it's a long and distinguished career behind the microphone, and as anybody will tell you that tries to replace a legend, it's hard to do. But from what I've heard, Eddie's doing a heck of a job down there so far.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. Go ahead, Eddie.
Thank you, fellas. I appreciate it. Let's get back to Ross. Ross, it's his day. It's his win, and I am just so proud of him. And I want to see him race every weekend. You planning on being with us every weekend, Ross?
Yeah, me and Adam's going to be there. The only thing, I've heard rumors there's going to be a 525 series next year, and it's going to be a little short series, about 10 races. Me and Adam's planning on following that if there is. I mean, we love Talladega. Our family's there every Saturday night with us and all. That means the world, but I'd like to get Adam out a little bit, you know, and get him some experience or exposure on some different tracks and things. If we can follow that, the little 525 is just a great deal. It's something we can afford to do and all, but we may do that. And I heard there's going to be some Friday night races maybe too, so maybe we'll get to be at Talladega as much as possible. So we're going to be there every chance we get.
Absolutely, no doubt. Of course.
There you go. With the 525 engine has proven very well for Ross and Adam both. They're both running the 525, and I think there's fixing to be a major announcement come out about that. But it means that Ross brought it up, and they're expecting some big things for that. And Ross, I do understand you want to do that, and I think you should. I think you enjoy it. That'd give you an opportunity to roll around on somebody else's dirt.
That's right. That's right. Like I said, get Adam out there, you know, and get him. I'm kind of been there at Talladega for 30 years. I'm set in my ways. I don't know if I could ever adapt to another racetrack, but I need to get him out and get him, you know, a little different and all. And like I said, that 525 is something we can afford to go to. It don't get so deep in our pockets that we have to worry about, you know, a money expense, you know. We worry about our race cars and setups, and we don't have to worry about our motors all the time.
Absolutely. Remember, the chat box is open. And remember, you can call 317-489-9388 if you got a question for the driver of the number 47 car, Ross Martin, how he got it done at the Ice Bowl. We can patch you into the broadcast and have your question brought out on the show. But please, Mike, I need to go ahead and throw this disclosure in there. If you call in on the show, let it be about racing purposes only. Don't call in and act stupid.
I don't think anybody would actually do that, do you?
Hey, Ross, I got a question for you. And I apologize for not knowing the tire rules for the Ice Bowl, but assuming you get to make some tire choices, how much harder is it to pick tires when you're running in the wintertime than your normal Saturday night, summertime dirt track race?
Well, I don't know if it's as much the winter time as it is daytime racing. Saturday nights, you can watch the track and see if it's taking on rubber or not. And daytime racing, you watch it and it starts blacking over. You know it's taking on rubber, and to me, it's actually a little easier. You know you got to be on a hard tire. On a Saturday night, you got so many options and choices, and you can get beat on tires really quick and really easy. You know, so. And I had to hand it to Adam. He took care of my tires this weekend, and he picked and chose what we went on, and he worked on them. And I can't think of nobody at Talladega I'd rather had, putting the tires on my race car than the way he worked on them and fixed them for me and had them ready for me.
And now,
Michael, I was just curious because I know when we were at the track Saturday, I helped out with a small track here in North Carolina, and we had 3 days of some steady rain, And Friday night went out there, and it was we had rolled it in, and it was looking pretty good. Got there Saturday morning, and the thing was muddy. And I was just curious, in the wintertime, it seems like it holds a lot more moisture, and I didn't know if that allowed you to go with a softer tire than you normally would go with in the summer.
Well, I think that helped us. I think everybody else this weekend kind of went with a touch softer because we had some rain Saturday, and the track never really locked down. I have to hand it to Preacher and Alfred. Now, they had a killer good racetrack for us to race on. You know, there was 2 good crews of racing on it, and it never locked down.
That's all I can say.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you what, Eddie Davis, you know, one thing I've got to commend to the racetrack is absolutely outstanding job as far as we thought we had somebody calling in, but I think they had. I would probably encourage you to have your, please have your radio turned down or have your internet speakers turned down to prevent feedback like that. I think everybody had to cover their ears there for just a second. but no. What'd you say, Eddie? Testing? But
there you go.
I want to throw out there, Eddie, was that, and whoever called in, please call back. Just make sure you got your speaker volume turned down. But and Ross, he threw that out there. We got to wrap things up here in a minute. But guys, you done a great job, Eddie. Even though being against the situation with the weather and getting rained out Saturday and having to rush everything into program on Sunday, I'm watching the football game of the wild card playoffs, and all of a sudden I see green flag feature starting at Ice Bowl, and I'm like, wow, this is like 3:30 in the afternoon Central, 4:30 my time. I was like, damn, they're really putting on a quick show to get this stuff done.
Well, yeah, again, we didn't mess around at Talladega. We always try to keep the show going. It's you've got to hold the attention to the racing, and if you don't do that, people are going to get bored with it. They're going to get up and walk away. And so we keep that stringent schedule going. We want these drivers to get there. We're going to get business taken care of. And we knew also we had youngsters that were going to have to go to school on Monday.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. And Ross, what's your final thoughts, man, of winning this this great race? And I think I asked you this question before. This is the biggest win of your career. Am I correct, in the 30 years you've been running?
Yes, it is. Yeah. I talked to Shane Clanton over in Columbus a couple of months ago, and we was talking about the Ice Bowl. You know, it's a big race. It's not the biggest paying race, but it's just an event. Everybody wants to be at the Ice Bowl, and yeah, this is the biggest one of my career for me.
This is the, and Mike Neff, it's safe enough to say the Ice Bowl is like the World 100 for wintertime racing. I mean, this is, and Eddie, me and you've talked about this before, it is the first big dirt late model event of the year in January. I don't care who you are. I know they're down in Arizona right now doing the Wild West Shootout or whatever the hell you want to call it. But bottom line, for 22 years now, the first big dirt late model race of the season has been and always will be, Eddie Davis, at Talladega Short Track and the Ice Bowl.
That's correct. That's a place where those want to be. Hey,
I don't hear any audio, John.
Oh.
I'm on the line with Leslie.
Eddie, are you there, buddy?
I am here. Can you hear me?
We've got a guest on the show. Hello, you're on the And the Winner Is Motorsports show. Go ahead.
Your guest, this is your executive producer. This is Cardiac Cowboy J.D. Webb back here in the studio with John Wessling. Hey, I wanted to ask Ross Martin, I've been fast becoming a short track, late model fan, dirt tracks, what have you, pretty much giving up the NASCAR thing. 2013 on the horizon. What's going to keep me a fan this season?
Say, what's going to keep you a fan?
Yeah, what's gonna keep me a fan this season for short track racing, dirt track racing?
Oh man, just I can't say one specific. Just I mean, you go to a dirt track race, anyone could win at any time. It's so unpredictable. It's just fast on the edge of your seat. Always the unpredictable is gonna happen on dirt. It's just, to me, it's the greatest racing there is.
No doubt about it. I've always said this to Mike Neff. Dirt track racing is dirt's where it's at. Asphalt's for getting there.
That's right.
And don't get me wrong, I like asphalt racing. I like all forms of racing, and but to me, dirt track racing has just. I mean, am I right, Ross Martin, to let you go in closing? Dirt track racing is just starting to. There was a time that dirt racing was popular, and then all of a sudden, asphalt local racing started to pick back up. And NASCAR was up there. Now they're kind of struggling. And we're going to talk to Ralph Shaheen about that in our final segment of tonight's show. But dirt track racing is just on an uptrend, and it's continuing to build and continuing to rise. And I really believe that if the network media and the social communists of sponsorship would quit knocking them down and stand behind what dirt track racing is all about, I believe they could be in the top level of national coverage.
Yes, I believe that. I have to contribute like Ronnie Johnson to that. You know, dirt track racing is unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen next. But Ronnie has always took, pretty much less than anybody. And he studies that dirt, and he knows what to do with it. So it's all about working and staying on top of the game to win dirt track racing. It's not as much about who's got the most money. It's knowledge and staying on top of it.
Definitely. Guys, we got to bounce. We went a couple of minutes over on our segment than what we needed to, but real quickly, Ross Martin, go ahead and thank out all your sponsors and your friends and family that put you in victory lane at Ice Bowl 22.
I have to thank Mike Vaughn and the 525 and Nee Smith for keeping me in racing and keeping me to afford it. And GRT, I got a really good race car from them, and Adam Martin, Ricky Stanton, Jeff Haynes, everybody that helps me on my race car, Ryan Wells, my family. My family and friends are behind me more than anything, and that's what keeps us going on Saturday nights.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. No doubt about it whatsoever. And Eddie Davis, man, thank you so much, buddy, for everything that you do at Talladega. Thank you for your friendship, my friend, and definitely appreciate you having you on tonight to recap the Ice Bowl.
Well, it's a pleasure being there and a pleasure being a part of it. And, again, the race car driver is the one there putting on the shows. And I'm so pleased to have association with these drivers. They are there. They're there for the kids, and they're there for the fans, and that means the most.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. Appreciate you very much, guys, for being on the program. God bless you both. And Ross Martin, I hope this win at the Ice Bowl puts you in a catapult for even more great wins for 2013, buddy. Who says 13 is a bad number?
That's right. That's right. My son born on Friday the 13th. It's been good for me.
No doubt about it. My son was born on Friday the 13th also in July. So appreciate you guys being on the program. Eddie Davis, Ross Martin, and Mike Neff. Those are the big winners of Ice Bowl 22, as well as the announcer of Talladega Short Track. What a great event they had there.
Oh, very cool. It's just cool when you have tracks like that, and like the dirt track at Charlotte and the dirt track at Vegas, where they're right there by a big venue, but they have their own personality and they have their own following, and you get so many people that are loyal to that dirt track to go down there and race on a weekly basis, and they have no desire to go over to the big track. And you get so many fans that go to the dirt track and never even cross over to go see races at the big track.
Absolutely.
Because it's a different world. Dirt track racing is a different world.
Definitely, definitely. And, hey, I want to remind you again, as JD and John Wesley called in, if you want to be a part of the show, it is our new phone feature. It's 317-489-9388. Again, 317-489-9388. And, again, that is the number to call. And, Mike Neff, I know we're going to stay on the air, so what do you say we get our next guest on the program? Mr. Young young driving sensation. He's ran past. He's ran CRA. He's ran down at the Snowball Derby, and he went to victory lane at New Smyrna Speedway, winning the Red Eye 100. Mr. Stephen Nasse in the 51 Ford.
Cool. Always good when Steve gets it to stay together for the whole race. There's something about Steven just getting bit by weird mechanical bugs. I can't tell you how many times I've seen him have the car to beat and something goofy happens.
Really?
So it's cool to see him keep the thing together for the whole race and walk off with the win.
And you know what I love? I love the fact that he resides in Florida, or he's based in North Carolina in the Charlotte area, where Racing City, USA is. He knows how to get racing around the track, and he loves and he is a talent behind the wheel, and he knows what he did over the weekend, Saturday night at New Smyrna Speedway, getting the checkers in the Red Eye 100, which is like, you know, we mentioned Ross Martin in the Ice Bowl for Super Dirt Late Model Racing, pretty much the Red Eye 100. Stephen Nasse, is that pretty much the big race for kicking off asphalt racing after the Snowball Derby at New Smyrna, buddy?
Yeah, pretty much. You know, the Red Eye is a pretty big thing over there at New Smyrna. Obviously, it isn't as big as the Governor's Cup, but it's pretty big.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it whatsoever. And by the way, I would like to. We're going to go to commercial break. We are staying on the air with our next guest, Stephen Nasse, driver of the 51 car and the Nasse Ford. But we want to mention our sponsors for And the Winner Is Motorsports Show here on ETV Live. Big thanks to Jason and Judy Short at Shortway Real Estate Incorporated, reminding you, take the short way home. Their number to call in for all of your real estate stuff, and they've got a great prize pack they'll be working on for 2013 for fans. Is 276-223-4018. That is Shortway Real Estate Incorporated, located in Wytheville, Virginia. And Bob Lutz in the NASCAR Racing Experience at Myrtle Beach Speedway and all across at other great NASCAR tracks. Go to NASCARRacingExperience.com, and we're glad to have them back on board for 2013. And Mike Neff, I'll tell you what, man, you know a lot more about Stephen Nasse than I do, but what I've seen out of this young man, I think he's going to be a talent in the 51 car.
There's no question. I had the pleasure of working with him down there at the World Crown last year, 4th of July weekend. We had something for him and went out and started the race and had some weird electrical bug come up and bite us. Had brought it in, farted around with it in the pits for a while, didn't really do anything to it, went back out, passed the eventual winner of the race like he was standing still. Looked like we were going to come back and do something, and lo and behold, it came up and bit us again, and we ended up parking the thing. But Steven's a talent. There's no question about that, and he is always fast wherever he goes and races. I'm curious about New Smyrna. Is it, if you compare it to other tracks you've been to, is it more fun, less fun? Obviously, you just won there, so I'm sure you're kind of enjoying it. But compared to other tracks, how do you like it?
You know, it's a lot of fun. It's a little something different. You know, they had the Cup cars go there and practice all the time, so it kind of wore out the groove, the racing groove. You know, it's a lot of fun to go there. You can make some good racing. It is kind of hard to pass, but it's really fast, so that definitely makes up for it. It's definitely not my favorite racetrack, but I love going there, and especially when your car is as fast as it was on Saturday night, it definitely makes it a lot more fun.
No doubt. Now, what do you have on your plate this year for racing? Do you have a specific series you're chasing? You going to do the Viper Series? You just going to run around and do different things? What's your plans for 2013?
We're going to try to run that Southern Super Series that's going to go to Pensacola, Mobile, Montgomery, Gresham, Nashville. So we're going to try to run that series, and hopefully, I've never won a points championship in any stock car related race. I've won plenty of them in go-karts, but I've never won one in a stock car. So we're going to go for the championship this year. We've also never really run for one either, so hopefully this could be our good year.
And I got a question for you, Stephen. What is your thoughts of so many sanctioning bodies around? Past CRA, the ARCA CRA, the fast car sanctioning body, all of these different sanctions that are fighting and contending for super late models what is your favorite sanctioning body you like running with? And do you feel like eventually, with the way the economy is, that some of these sanctioning tours need to get together as what some dirt sanctioning bodies are going to try to do in 2013 and maybe work together instead of trying to have a piston match competing against one another?
Yeah, my favorite series to run is the CRA series. That's an awesome series. They always have the best drivers in the series. Go to some of the best tracks, it always makes for the best of racing. And the past series, I ran a little bit of that. It's a pretty good series. They always, I know towards the end of their series, it was kind of dying down a little bit, but when I was racing it, there were a lot of competitors, a lot of equal competitors. So that definitely made for a lot of great racing. And with them all getting together, that'd be great. I don't know if it'll ever happen. I couldn't tell you. They all go against each other, like you said. They're all competitors with one another. So there's no telling if they'll get together, but I'm sure if they did, it'd be a great thing. So but like I said, I like running the CRA series. It makes good racetracks. We go to Winchester, Red Bud, all that kind of thing. So CRA is definitely my favorite.
How much fun is running a stock car around Winchester?
Oh, that's an excitement. That gives me tingling just thinking about it right now. That's a fast racetrack. That's a place where when you go around for your qualifying run, you definitely got to hold your breath a little bit and pray, because you're hauling the mail there. That's for sure. You can't let out. You got to go hard. If you let out in the race and there's somebody right behind you, you'll get ran over. So that's you got to go off the wall there. That's amazing. I couldn't imagine talking to Troy DeCare and all them running sprint cars around that place almost full throttle. That's ridiculous. The Super Late model gets me shaky. I couldn't imagine a sprint car with a wing on it going around there.
Now I got a question. Now you said you got all trembling excited whenever we mentioned Winchester. Is that your favorite track? Do you like Winchester Speedway? Is that your humdinger, so to speak?
I like it. Don't get me wrong. I really do like it. But to be honest, one of my favorite racetrack, I'd have to say, is Gresham. Gresham is just one of the nicest facilities we go to.
Right.
It's so smooth, makes for such good racing. That's definitely the best.
And he's fast there, so I can understand why you say that.
And
that definitely always makes me like it a little bit more.
And I didn't know this. Not only are we talking to driver Stephen Nasse, but this is kind of like a driver crew member segment, because Mike Neff, I didn't know you helped him out with one of his cars.
Yeah, it was cool. And I had hoped to do a couple more of them last year. Just Buggy never called on the phone again, but I'd helped out. They needed some guys. I was going to be the gas man for the World Crown last year on the 4th of July, and went down there and was all geeked up for it and never really got to put gas in it because the thing messed up on us early in the race.
Oh.
But hopefully get to do it again this year, especially if they're going to be running around in the South down here. If Buggy needs me, I'll definitely be there for you.
What's your intention, Stephen, running on the schedule this year? Where are you going to be running at, buddy?
We're going to be all over. Like I said, we're gonna run that Southern Super Series, but that's not it either. That's not, because that's only 15 races, and we got 30 races hopefully on our schedule. So we'll be picking choosing the big Super Late model shows. We were hoping to, because I do turn 18 this year, May 5th. So we were hoping to kind of move on to bigger and better things, but it's a little late for all that. So we're gonna sit back and hopefully get somebody to notice me a little bit more. We're going to run the bigger stuff and hopefully get all our stuff put together and to where nothing's going to fall apart during the races, or just like you're saying with the World Crown 300, didn't get to finish that. We were so fast. That's such a heartbreak. We got some of our great crew members back, so hopefully it'll all stay together for the season and we can put something great together.
Is Buggy going to be your crew chief again?
Yeah, we have Buggy, but our guy Petey, he had to go to another job at the beginning of the season, and now we got him back. So I feel like great things will be coming our way.
Cool.
No doubt about it. Again, ladies and gentlemen, on the program is the driver of that number 51 car, Stephen Nasse. Stephen, man, I got a question to ask you. I know you mentioned all the great things you've done with asphalt racing, but have you ever thought about doing anything with dirt, or have you done something with dirt before?
Well, it's funny you say that. You know, I've been trying to get in something dirt for a little while now. You know, I grew up racing dirt. That's what I started out racing in, was like go-karts. I raced dirt go-karts all around, won championships in it. And me and my dad talked about maybe getting a dirt late model and going out and running. But we're really focused on our asphalt stuff. You know, we don't want to try to venture too far out there and mess up our asphalt program. So, but don't get me wrong, I would love to go run it, because definitely some of the best drivers come from dirt. That definitely gives you a lot of car control, and definitely a lot more than asphalt. So
definitely.
I thought about it.
But you know what I'm going to tell him to do, Wesley?
What?
Get yourself a mini Outlaw and come out to Millbridge.
Come on out to Millbridge.
You know you'd have a good time.
Come on out to Millbridge.
Yeah, hey, anything's possible. You never know.
I tell you know Sean Vardell. He's got one.
Yeah.
He's trying to get rid of it. Go ahead and get that one and come out and race with us.
Yeah, I'm real good buddies with Sean. I went out there and watched him race his out there, and you know, that was a lot of fun watching. I tried to get him to let me get into it, but I didn't bring my helmet or anything, and you know, it just didn't work out for me that night. But I guarantee you, I'll probably end up getting in one in no time.
Awesome. Well, we want to have you out there, man. It's going to be bigger and better year this year. So get in and get out there, brother.
Get in.
Awesome.
Hold on. As again, Derek Perniciglio won the Mini Outlaws event, and you know, I talked to Ashley Burnett on Facebook the other day, and Jeremy also, and Mike. They said they had a good crowd, good turnout of carts, and the crowd attendance was good for a January 5th date.
Yeah, it was. I was kind of surprised this past weekend. We had a pretty good showing of people. Definitely a bunch of carts. Not only the Mini Outlaws, but just regular go-karts too. We had a really good group. Had some great races. But the year ahead for Millbridge is looking really promising. We got a lot of advertisers on with us, a lot of sponsors for the track, and I think we're going to have some pretty big names showing up, at least doing some one-off races. So I'm hoping we can pencil Stephen Nassy in as one of our celebrity drivers to at least make a one-off race if he doesn't buy one and come out and run regular with us.
There you go. Well, Stephen, buddy, we'll let you go, man. I know you got some other media obligations. I know you got some more race shows you got to be on, so I'll get you prepped and prepared for that. So we appreciate you being on tonight. But before we let you go, buddy, thank out all your sponsors and all of your crew members that helped you win at the Red Eye 100 at New Smyrna. And one final question. It's got to be a good feeling winning that event at the Red Eye to now carry that momentum going into the World Series of Asphalt Short Track Racing at New Smyrna coming up in a few weeks.
Yeah, you know, I won the Red Eye a couple of years ago, 2011. I won it to start off the season there also. And I think we ended up winning about 6 or 7 races that season, you know, which isn't an outstanding season, but that's a lot better than what we've had this past season. So hopefully this will kick off our year great, you know. And like I said, we're just a family-owned team. We're not nothing special. We're not no big money, nothing. You know, we do it all on our own. So just big special thanks to my dad and my mom. They do a lot for me. You know, my dad works hard every single day running his concrete business, trying to get me out there on the racetrack, give me some new tires on the car. So I really appreciate them. And my crew chief, Buggy Pletcher, he works really hard. I know I'm kind of far away from the shop. I live over in Pinellas Park, Florida, but shop's up there in Mooresville, North Carolina. So it's kind of hard for me and him to communicate about things on the race car because we're so far away and I can't be right there next to it. But he does a great job for how the distance set up. And PD and Hap, they all do great. You know, every single guy that we have working on the car gives it their 100% effort, just like I give my 100% effort on the racetrack.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. No doubt about it. Mike Neff, final thoughts for Stephen Nassy?
I just hope to see you at all the big super late model shows this year. Get out there and give Bubba Pollard and Kyle Benjamin and Augie Grill and Chase Elliott and Ross Kenseth and all those boys that run for their money, brother, because I like to see you go fast, and I'm hoping you're going to get better at that durability thing so we can see you in victory lane a little bit more often.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You know, we beat all those guys before, and I guarantee you we can do it again, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more of that this season. So hopefully big things to come for me and Stephen Nassy Racing.
No doubt about it. Well,
Cool,
Stephen, buddy, man, thank you so much for being on the program. God bless, and have a great 2013. And, man, we'll see you here on the next day. And the winner is if you win again. I'm pretty certain you got some more victories coming up this year.
Yeah, hopefully. I'll be glad to be back, that's for sure.
No doubt about it. Stephen Nasse, driver of the 51 Ford entry, winner at New Smyrna Speedway in the Red Eye 100. And sounds like a class act driver there, too, Mike Neff. I didn't know you told me you worked with him.
Yeah, I mean, it was a one-off deal. It was supposed to be several of them. They were supposed to be taking me up to Winchester and then down to the Snowball, and it just kind of, Buggy ended up getting some other guys that were able to have a little more time in, because once I got this...
finally got a full-time job.
Yeah, once I got this job, it was a little harder for me to get down there for 2 or 3 days, and they get more bang for their buck having somebody at the track for the whole time. So, but you never know. They need somebody to be a gas man. I can do it. I can jack whatever they need me to do. Although I wouldn't want to be putting me on changing tires. I can promise you that would be a bad choice. But yeah, he's it's a class act, and he's just fast. I mean, You don't know about winning the races, but there is no question if Stephen Nasse shows up at a super late model race that he's going to lead practice at some point in time, and he's going to be right up top 2 or 3 in qualifying almost every time.
The Cardiac Cowboy, J.D. Webb, says you could gas up his car.
I can do that. Bring it on over.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will have... our next guest on, winner from Hickory, North Carolina, of the event that went on this past Saturday at the Dillon Motor Speedway, Mr. Gary Ledbetter. Gary Ledbetter won the big race on Saturday night at the Dillon Motor Speedway in an exciting race in fine fashion, and put that number 32 car in victory lane. Got it done, and we will definitely be talking to that driver right after this break. We got to thank Shortway Real Estate Incorporated and, of course, NASCAR Racing Experience. And I do understand that the executive producer is taking care of some other stuff, so I will run it from my board. So Mike Neff will be right back with Gary Ledbetter right after this commercial break. And the winner is, we'll be right back. First show of 2013, looking to go bigger and better on ETV Live Radio, powered by HD Radio Network. Shortway Real Estate Incorporated, conveniently located off of intersection I-81 and I-77 in Wytheville, Virginia. Services all of Southwest Virginia in residential, farms, recreational, and commercial properties. The company is owned by Jason and Judy Short. Judy has been in the real estate market for over 15 years and is the broker of Shortway Real Estate. And they have 2 of the top agents in Southwest Virginia. Their goal is simple: to provide the best customer service and build business on repeat clients. You can get pre-approvals in less than 20 minutes. They have many properties located on over 300 websites nationwide. You can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for customer service guaranteed. And guess what? Licensed in Virginia, they can show you any property listed in the Commonwealth state. They're located at 1205 East Main Street in Wytheville, Virginia. For more details, call 276-223-4018. That's 276-223-4018. Shortway Real Estate Incorporated, reminding you, take the short way home.
Hey Cowboys, this is J.D. Webb, executive producer for ETV Live, the leader in sim broadcasting. With ingenuity, innovation, and vision, ETV Live has set the bar in providing the best in online simulation auto sports broadcasting. Enjoy the After Show, a 24-hour network featuring reruns of ETV Live's top racing events. And don't miss our weekly racing series, Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series, on Monday nights at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Also catch the Friday Night Showdown, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, all live on ETV Live, etv-eplay.net. The only choice for your sim racing broadcast needs, etv-eplay.net.
The fever. Intense. NASCAR Racing Experience. The authentic racing experience. Packages start at just $329. Thrilling. The Rush. The NASCAR Racing Experience. Call 1-877-RACE-LAP today.
All right, welcome back to the show. It is And the Winner Is. Mike Knapp, how you doing?
You cut off the intro, man.
No, it was the wrong one. I didn't want to play the one from last year.
Alrighty then.
That was old.
I'm cool with that. Whatever it takes.
How you been, buddy?
I'm great, man. Had a great Christmas, great New Year's. How was yours? I saw your cool little present the little woman got for you.
How about that? Nice big screen TV. What do you think?
I'm jealous. 55 inches of madness going on there. That's pretty awesome.
And you know what? She said I earned it just for me being me.
Wow, she's got some low standards.
I knew you were going to say something like that. Hey, welcome back to And the Winner Is Motorsports Show. I apologize, us having to cut the commercials on the fly. John Wesling, our executive producer, is taking care of some other stuff. We've got the Cardiac Cowboy, our executive producer, J.D. Webb. John Wesling, our man running the boards, our engineer, he's back now, I understand, so we appreciate that. We're going to have to double time because coming up in about 15 minutes, we're going to have on Ralph Shaheen from Speed Channel. So we are going to talk real quickly to the driver, Gary Ledbetter, and we'll get Gary Ledbetter on the program. And Mike, I'll tell you what, Gary Ledbetter is a very he's a talent. I mean, dude, he actually
is. When it comes to street stock racing, there's very few people that are at the caliber that Gary is.
And his dad kicks ass in limited late models, by the way.
I may be mistaken, but I believe Gary won the greatest race I've ever seen at Ace Speedway year before last. When we went over there, it was the first time I'd ever been to Ace Speedway, and they had 11 cars in a street stock race, and I want to say it was a 20-lap race, and they had a different leader every lap except the last two.
Well, why don't you ask him, Mike? He's on the show now. Gary Ledbetter, go ahead.
I can't remember, Gary. I was trying to remember if you won the greatest race I've ever seen, which was a street stock race at Ace. I want to say probably May of 2011. They had 11 cars in it. It was like a 20-lap race, and there was a different leader every lap except the last two, and I think it was you that won the race.
Yeah, I can't really remember. I think I do remember that race because, like I say, it was exciting. I mean, like I say, it was really don't see how all of us made it through there without wrecking, to tell you the truth, because it was 3 wide, 4 wide. Everybody did pretty good.
It was, and I mean, it was. I don't remember if it was cold or what, but guys were like dirt tracking through the corner, 3 wide, and how they didn't wreck and wad up the whole field that whole race. But it was just a phenomenal race. I still say it's the best race I have ever seen anywhere.
Yeah, it was. It's pretty exciting. Like I mean, like I say, sometimes races like that, I wish I could be in the stands watching it, but like I say, it's just as fun being in them too.
No question about it. So tell us about your weekend at Dillon, brother.
It turned out like we hoped it would. Like I said, we went down there. We qualified second. You know, we was wanting to get the pole, but we qualified second. And I forget the guy's name was on the pole. I mean, he was tough all weekend, and me and him battled for 144 laps. And he had some problems there at the end, and just misfortune for him. And I actually think he told me he run out of gas. Of all things, he run out of gas.
And that's a long race, though, Gary, for 150 laps around Dillon Motor Speedway in a street stock car, of all things, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll wear you out. Because, like I said, we used to run 25 laps, 25 laps every week. And like I say, when they throw something like that in there, it throws. I mean, you got to be ready for it. Though.
On a 500, didn't you?
Yeah, you think you run it. I mean, that's like the Daytona 500 for us now, because that race keeps getting bigger every year. I mean, I think the first year they had 12 cars, last year they had 28, and this year they had 30.
Absolutely.
So every year it keeps getting a little bigger.
And it doesn't help matters that the weather kind of ruined things Wednesday for or Tuesday for New Year's Day, kind of ruined the whole tradition. But you got to give big kudos to Andy Locklear and Mr. Ron Barfield and company and everybody at Dillon Motor Speedway for, instead of just scrapping it off, turning around and running the race Saturday night.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I say, Ron Barfield and them, they run a top-notch show down there because I mean, the way they got the rules and everything, everybody's close and competitive. And like I say, the tire they put us on for that race, it makes everybody close. Cause I mean, they run a top-notch show down there. Because I mean, I think Tuesday, if we would have had the race Tuesday, we might have had a couple more cars. But I mean, like I say, a lot of people from out of town, they had to go back home. So like I said, we still had 30 cars.
Yeah,
I mean, that's pretty good for a street stock race.
And I wish, Mike, and we talked about this off, Mike. I wish that Andy Hillenberg and the guys at Rockingham could get something worked out. And you know what? Even me and Gary talked about this on the phone last night when we were setting them up for the radio show this evening. I wish that they could be able to put something together to bring back the polar bear. Because I'm not knocking what Ron Barfield or nobody at Dillon Motor Speedway is doing. As a matter of fact, I appreciate the fact that they're still doing something like that on New Year's Day. But
yeah,
I really believed, Mike, that Andy Hillenberg and the folks at Rockingham had something going there doing that polar bear race.
Oh, yeah, polar bear was big, and it was, like you say, it was more than a race. It was an event. I mean, I see pictures posted on Facebook every now and then from the parties afterward. And everybody's sitting on the track and just, it was way more than just the race.
My first experience of the polar bear was seeing Monty Dutton, who is one of the best NASCAR riders in the country, and he's got his guitar, and he's on the top of the race camper. And he's just, he's just having a ball, singing his old folk country songs and whatnot. And the race, like you said, Mike, it was building up to not just be, And Gary, I know your dad was involved in this also, and I know you even said your car that won at Dillon was actually a car that ran at Rockingham. So you know what I'm talking about how it wasn't just a race; it was an event, and it was something that I wish could be brought back for New Year's Day.
Yeah, I think actually Ron Barfield and them, the only reason they run that race on New Year's Day is because Rockingham changed their date. I mean, Rockingham changed their date to run it in November. That's the reason Ron and them, jumped on that date to run a New Year's Day race.
Absolutely, definitely. Well, Gary,
I agree.
Yeah, let's talk about your career. Go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say, so Gary, where are you planning on doing most of your racing this coming season?
I think we're going to try and go Southern National. We might hit Motor Mile a couple times up Virginia. Well, I mean, this past year we raced 9 different tracks and we won on 7 of them. So I mean, we had a pretty good year, and that's why we traveled around, because when you go to somebody's track, it's a lot more competition. It's hard to beat somebody at their home track. So I mean, if you want the competition, you travel around, and like that, it gives you a goal to shoot for, and that's kind of what we do. And like I said, the only tracks we didn't win at was Newport, Tennessee, and Lonesome Pine, Virginia. But like I said, we're going to go back this year, like I say, we're going to give it another try, because like I said, we didn't do too good when we went.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Well, Gary, man, let's talk about your dad, because, I mean, you're starting to set your tracks in your racing career like your dad, Gary Ledbetter Sr. did. I mean, one of the talented drivers in a limited late model, that number 70 car at Caraway Speedway, numerous track championships, numerous victories, and of course also ran in the Southeast Limited Late Model Series and whatnot. And I asked you the question, are we going to see you jump in a limited late model anytime soon? And like your dad, and is your dad thinking about stepping out of the race car?
Well, I mean, the guys he was currently driving for, their son has got up to about 17, 18 years old or something, and they've kind of put him in the car. So Daddy's kind of, I guess you could say, retired right now, but I mean, he would jump all over opportunity to drive something like that. And me personally, I would love to move up if somebody would give me the opportunity to. But like I say, as far as money goes, we can't afford it ourselves, because I mean, like I say, it costs, that next level is a whole lot bigger jump in money. And
I'll tell you what, final subject that we're going to talk to Gary about, because we got to get Brian Holborn on to talk about the Chili Bowl coming up here, and then at the bottom of the hour, Ralph Shaheen of Speed Channel to close out the show of our first And the Winner Is of 2013. Mike, last night, me and Gary were talking about the Frank Kimmel Street Stock Series and how a popular program that would be if it was taken a lot more seriously than just running a couple of fly-by-night races on the schedule. Wouldn't that be cool, Mike, if you saw like a Northern Series and a Southern Series and then have like a 3-race championship deal for the Frank Kimmel Street Stock Series. And with those cars, could it be something that could be feasibly economic and affordable and, you know, able to run on a regional level to travel all over the country with?
I'm going to approach that on two levels. First of all, I agree. I would like to see, first of all, I'd like to see a national street stock series.
Absolutely.
Where you had dudes that traveled around and they actually paid $100,000 to win a street stock race at short tracks around the country. I think that would be phenomenal. I think the racing would be the best racing that anybody would see anywhere, and it would really harken back to the early days of NASCAR. That said, I am in the early stages of trying to work on something that, you know, it's going to be kind of nebulous at the moment, but hoping to take advantage of used police cars. There are literally millions of used police interceptors across the country that can easily be adapted for racing purposes. And for about $5,000, at least that's the target price, you would be able to go out and race on Saturday nights at your local short tracks. And if you blow a motor or if you have a major problem, you can go to another junkyard, grab another police interceptor motor, take it to your local mechanic if you're not so inclined, spend $300, have them slap a new motor in your car, and be back at the track the next week, rather than buying a $17,000 or $30,000 built motor to go out and try and run in a late model. And I think it would revive short track racing, and I think it would be a phenomenal thing across the country that could ultimately lead to, like you're saying, a 3-race championship or something like that. But first of all, I'd love to see a national stock car, or national street stock series. If you could get somebody like Humpy behind it, where you would have some cachet right off the bat, I think.
No, Gary, let's just get Humpy Wheeler. Let's just get Humpy Wheeler to do it.
But
it takes somebody like that to do it.
I know, but I think you could
feel like
really
it would be a
get
great
somebody
thing to
behind
do.
it.
Yeah,
I believe so.
I feel like it'd be a success. I mean, I really do.
I do too, because it would be the best racing. It would be the best racing anybody saw.
Yeah, because, you know, our class actually, I mean, you take late models, sometimes our class, you can bump and bang and not worry about knocking a fender in or nothing like that, and take arrow push and whatever, you know, they deal with up in the next level. But, I mean, it's just really good, hard racing. I bet a car Saturday, this ain't no light deal, they wouldn't a car down there Saturday that didn't leave with a door knocked in or a donut on the side of it. And it was some that left with a lot more tore up, but I mean, they wouldn't a car down there didn't have some kind of damage to it.
Exactly, but that's what it's about. There is nothing like going to victory lane knowing that, you know, you won it with your fenders clean. But when you go out there like you did, Gary, and you're beating and you're banging and you're bumping and you're rubbing, and the other guy beside you got a donut on the side of your car battling you for the win, but in the end you still take the checkered flag and win the race, that's when you know you won a hard race. You know you've earned that victory.
You're exactly right. You earned that win, and it's a whole lot. It tastes so much better to earn them than it is to go out there and lead every lap and have them. I mean, I actually won the race last year too, Dylan, and we qualified on the pole and led every lap. And like I said, don't get me wrong, it was very fulfilling to win it because, like I say, I mean, it was a 150 lap race. We liked it, but Saturday it was so much more enjoyable because we actually worked for that win Saturday.
Absolutely, definitely. Well, I'll tell you what. We're gonna have to let you go, Gary, because we're coming up on 7:30, and we're getting. I think we got about a couple more minutes left with you, so we'll hang here with you. Matter of fact, I think Ralph Shaheen is actually going to call in. Ralph Shaheen from Speed Channel will be calling in, and you know what? I'd like to get his thoughts on that subject. As somebody that travels all over the country like he does on the national level, I wonder what he would think of something like a street stock program going national. And you know what? I know we're just sitting here bench talking about it right now, and I'm happy to bring in another partner into the program. We all know him as the Madman, Marcus Morgan, fresh in. Marcus, what is your thoughts, dude? Do you think a street stock series could make it on a national level?
I think quite possibly it could if it had enough support regionally. Sure. Why not?
Regionally, it could make it, Mike Neff, is what he says.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything. There's got to be money behind it. But, I mean, you look at the dude that's running Rev Oil Pro Cup now that's paying $10,000 to win every race this season.
Right.
If you could get, speaking pie in the sky or something, O'Reilly Auto Parts to come in and back the thing big money time and pay $50,000 or $100,000 to win every race and run a 20 or 30 race schedule that covered the whole country, and pay. And again, I'm not a big fan of points bonuses at the end of the year, but pay another 30 or 50 grand if you win the points championship. I think you would have at least a handful of drivers, 15 or 20 of them that would chase it. And you'd also have local guys that would come in and run for their given track. And that's one of the things. There's a lot of things that NASCAR has lost, but that's one of the things that NASCAR has lost. Some of these tracks. And if they could have a stock deal where you had guys that are local racers come out and run against the guys that are the traveling show, it would add an element that I think it would add to the excitement of the whole deal.
And I'll tell you what, Mike Neff, I want to bring in another voice to this panel, as he has just joined us on time as always at 7:30, scheduled to be on at 7:30. Speed Channel personality of Monster Energy Supercross. He's also the new owner of National Speed Sport News, picking up the reins after Chris Economaki, one of the Dean of Motorsports, passing on. And what a great, honor to have Ralph Shaheen on the program. We had him on back in Memorial Day of last year to promote the Indianapolis 500. And now AMA Supercross, hot and heavy. We'll talk some NASCAR. But Ralph Shaheen, welcome to the program. And do you feel, as a national announcer who travels all over the country, do you think a street stock series could make it on a national level?
Wow. Huh. Well, thanks for having me, first off. I never saw that question coming up. I guess anything is possible. I guess it depends on how you set up the rules, where you hold the events, and on a national level, you would certainly need to have. Now, when you say that, do you mean something that you're looking to grow into a major racing series, or are you talking about just? I mean, you can certainly do a rules package that goes across the country. If you want to turn it into something bigger than that, like as far as it being a traveling series of some sort, I think you would need some television to support that to get fans interested in who the competitors are.
You're familiar with the Frank Himmel Street Stock Series, correct, Ralph?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Something of that statute, if it went national, if Frank Kimball decided to make that go national. And by the way, the reason being is we have Gary Ledbetter on the program, who is the driver of the number 32 car out of Hickory, North Carolina, who won the race at Dillon Motor Speedway on New Year's, which was a 2,000-to-win street stock event. And we're just kind of recapping and reminiscing the days of the Polar Bear 150 at Rockingham, and that's a street stock event. And could we possibly see something like that go national?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could certainly make the rules package interesting enough to get manufacturers interested and involved, head back towards more of a strictly stock type of, deal with some modifications, but, maybe not too much to keep the cost of racing realistic for those on that level. But, again, if you're looking to make it a bigger deal, you're going to need to have sponsors involved to get guys to travel. Once you make guys start traveling, that's where the expenses really go crazy. It's not just the cost of the race car itself, but the cost of towing that car and taking crews and putting them up in hotels and flying them to events and all that, where those budgets start to skyrocket. So if you're going to do that, then you got to put some TV in there so that guys can go out and sell a legitimate sponsorship package to cover those expenses.
Absolutely, definitely. Well, Gary Ledbetter, buddy, before we let you go, my friend, why don't you go ahead and throw out all your sponsors on your car? This is a subject that we could probably talk about for an hour.
Oh, God, yeah.
I wish somebody would do that for that division, because, like I say, it is a very good division to be in. And like I said, my sponsor is Creighton Riggins Corporation out of Statesville, out of Yackenville, and Chatley Boat Marine out of Sanford. That's the only two I got.
Man, I'll tell you what, you mentioned Chatley Boat Marine, and that reminds me so much of nostalgia back in my childhood days at Orange County Speedway, watching that number 14 car, Wayne Patterson, and the battles that he used to have at Barry Begley, at Ace on Friday night, and Orange County on Saturday, and even at South Boston. Just a super great sponsor. Chatley Boat Marine is still to this day with sponsoring race teams like yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Gary Ledbetter, thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate you being on. And next time, success throughout 2013. And if you win again, we'll have you on And the Winner Is another time this year.
All right. I appreciate that. Thank y'all.
Definitely, definitely. And Ralph Shaheen now joining us on the broadcast. Our esteemed panel is Marcus Morgan. I'm Wesley Outland, Mike Neff. And, of course, running the boards in Indiana is John Wessling. And, of course, executive producer in California, J.D. Webb. And, well, I'll tell you what, Ralph, fresh in from California, how was the Anaheim and Supercross for Monster Energy on us?
Yeah, and just how fast was Bubba Stewart?
Yeah. Well, he was number one on the board after the final practice session, and then we found out that he tweaked his knee. We didn't see it happen, but somewhere along the way, because Ricky and Jeff and I were watching that final practice from the booth, and none of us saw anything go wrong with him. In fact, he turned that fastest lap right near the end of the session. Somewhere along the way, he tweaked his right knee, and that threw him off for the rest of the night. From that point on, it was pretty much a survival-type deal, and he spent the rest of the night just trying to score points and getting through the day, which he was able to do. But wasn't the way it didn't finish the way it was looking like it was going to go. Now, on the flip side, the racing itself was fantastic, and Davey Millsaps came in there completely under the radar. Nobody saw this coming. Even though Davey finished second in the points a year ago, he had won 3 races in the past. He's certainly a competent rider, but he didn't seem to be the guy that everybody was talking about coming into this year. But boy, he was definitely practicing hard and training hard, because he had a ton of speed and beat all the best in the world. Completely blew him away Saturday night.
No doubt about it. And, of course, he's talking about Monster Energy Supercross, and that was their season opener event for 2013. And you can follow the action with Jeff Immig, Ricky Carmichael, and Ralph Shaheen, who's on the show here tonight on Speed. And I got a question, Ralph, because first off, thanks for stepping up and being on the program. Awesome seeing you at the IMA show at Indianapolis. And I really want to, ask you about National Speed Sport News and how that's going along, and the publication and the radio show and the magazine. And it seemed like you really had a big turnout at the IMA show in Indianapolis with the big, all the big race announcements that was made. But what is the deal going on with Speed Channel? Is it true that we're losing Speed Channel? Is it true that it's becoming another network? You work with them as well as working with NASCAR on TNT. What is the deal with the Speed Channel company? Can you kind of give us some information on it?
Not really. Because I really don't know much, to be honest with you.
Okay.
They haven't really told us a whole lot yet. This kind of falls into that. We're all on a need-to-know basis, and apparently right now we don't really need to know.
Right now,
what I can tell you is it looks like there's going to be some changes coming down the road. Exactly what and how, I don't know. I don't know exactly what the programming lineup is going to look like. I do know that racing is definitely going to be a part of whatever this is going to be. I can tell you, they've renegotiated their NASCAR deal for multiple years.
Right.
All of which is not just going to be airing on Big Fox. Speed is obviously a part of the Fox family of networks, but based on the deal that they put together, you're going to need more than Big Fox to spread all that stuff around.
Right.
So racing is definitely going to be a part of it. Supercross is good for a couple more years. Monster Truck's good for a couple more years. Arena Cross, ARCA, MotoGP. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's been renewed recently for multiple years. Sports car racing, Le Mans, Sebring, Daytona. So I don't know exactly how this is all going to play out yet, but I can definitely tell you, rest assured that racing is going to be a huge part of it.
Well, Ralph,
Absolutely.
How do you feel about the loss of F1?
Well, probably not as bad as Bob Varsha does.
Yeah.
That was Bob's number one deal. I hate to see it go because I know the guys that were working on that series were very, very passionate about it and did an outstanding job in presenting our coverage of it. The other part of that story is that if you're in television, and Bob would tell you this very thing, you're very much, sadly, used to losing properties that you work on. So that's not unheard of by any stretch of imagination. It was a bit of a surprise, they were doing everything they could to keep it, and the folks at NBC and NBC Sportsnet did a little bit more.
How do you think the American audience is going to follow F1 now? There's making that change.
I don't think it'll be too bad of a dip or loss in any way, shape, or form. I mean, they've got Steve Matchett and David Hobbs and Will Buxton, who were on the Speed broadcasts as part of that crew, and they've added another one of our former Speed colleagues, Lee Diffie, as the main play-by-play guy, and Lee's very talented. So, I think they've got a very good team.
And by the way, there was something that went viral on Facebook and I joined that group, and it said, please, let's vote to keep the Speed Channel broadcast team on NBC Sports Network. And obviously, Ralph, us as fans, we can put our opinion out there, or we can make our vote of, yes, we support you guys from Speed going to the next network or keeping you on. But obviously, there's a lot more higher powers that make them decisions. And I know some people got to boot, some people got to stay, and you know what? It's just the economics that go on with the racing business. So many people, Mike Neff, one person we know that won at Millbridge over the weekend, Derek Pernasiglio, Alan Dietz, good friends of ours with NASCAR Media Group, and they were just sadly one of the people that were in that fluctuation process of having to cut some jobs at the NASCAR stables. So, it's just kind of the way things go sometimes.
Yeah, it's a very tough business that way, and it's never fun when it happens. I've had it happen to me. Look, I was a big part of TNN when it was cranking out racing back in the day, and the next thing you know, TNN morphs into the national network and then into Spike TV, and we're all sitting on the sidelines going, well, now what do we do,
Those were the old days, weren't they?
Yeah, unfortunately at the time, Speed Vision was up and running, and I had started doing some work with them, and that, became Speed Channel, and off we all went. So this is certainly not unheard of. I was a part of CBS Sports and still am and have been for many, many years, and look, we had Daytona and a handful of other NASCAR races at the same time as TNN, and, we've been doing Daytona for 20-some-odd years, and then all of a sudden they have that big turnover there, and I remember sitting there thinking, NASCAR would never cut loose CBS. They would never do that. First people to ever do Daytona Live and all the stuff we've done for them and all this, that, and the other thing. Well, guess what? Ultimately, it is all about the dollars, and everybody does go wherever the most money is, and it went to Fox, and CBS was out on the sidelines again. So, that's what happened here with F1. The NASCAR TV stuff is up for bid again. Fox is in, but there's still a whole other bunch of races yet to go. So, look, it will go wherever the most money is, I can tell you that much.
So let me ask you this. Do you think this is all part of a new renaissance in how broadcasting races is going to be with this economy that we're in going forward?
No, I think it's all about money.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it is all about money and always will be all about money. It's not going to be who comes up with the neatest, trickiest way of doing it. It's going to be who's giving us the most money, period. You know, hopefully, well, and I know there will be some new bells and whistles. We do that every year. Every year, even the networks that currently have the packages, whatever it's, I mean, we got new bells and whistles on our Supercross programs this year, and we didn't have to go out and rebid for it this year, but Speed elevated what we're doing. That's just part of what you do. However, when it comes to negotiations, it is strictly about money.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But again, on the program is Ralph Shaheen from Speed Channel, as well as NASCAR on TNT. And man, I remember watching him, Marcus and Mike, as a kid, back in the '80s, watching the Daytona 500 on CBS. And
be careful, Wesley. Don't make me feel old.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're really ingratiating yourself in this one here, Wesley. Dig out of this hole.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, but definitely a great privilege to have you on the program tonight, Ralph. And
Thank you.
I have a question for you. You've done everything, and you still do everything with NASCAR to the Indy cars at Indianapolis for the month of May. You've done the motocross. You do AMA. You do Supercross. You do the road racing. You've done you continue to do Charlotte with the World of Outlaw, the STP sprint cars, the late models, the big block modifieds. As an announcer and as somebody that's in that same position of a career, and anybody else that's tuning in that wants to do that, is that the way to go, that you need to have your foot in the door in any type of genre of sports you can?
Well, that's a very common question that I get asked, because there are a lot of people that would love to be involved in sportscasting, period, whether it's stick and ball or motorsports.
Right.
And the challenging part is that there's no set way of doing it. It's not like saying, I'm going to become a lawyer, so I'm going to go to school for 8 years, I'm going to take this big bar exam, and if I pass that, then I'm going to get my license, and I'm going to go hang up my sign, and I'll be in business. It just doesn't, it's just not that way.
Right.
There is no set pattern to exactly how you get there. The way that I've done it is different than the way Bob Varsh has done it, is different than the way that Lee Diffie has done it. None of us have done it the same way.
Right, right.
What I've done is all I can go by. And what I would tell you is to get your hands on any microphone you can, talking about anything you can, whether it's in front of a live audience, on TV, on radio, on a PA system, whatever the case might be.
Absolutely.
Every bit of practice you can get helps you to get to that next step. A lot of luck has to be involved in that you're in the right place at the right time when a door opens up and they need somebody.
Right.
But if you're out there and you're performing and you're doing good, they'll look for you and they'll say, that's where your luck comes in. They'll say, well, we've seen this guy around and he's been doing pretty good. Let's give him a shot. Well, so there's, preparation meeting luck, as they say. And then you have to be good enough that once you get in that door, you're able to stay there.
Right.
And then it just keeps snowballing from there. And the more experience you get, the more opportunities you get, and so forth and so on. I even announced ladies' fashion shows. But, look, that put me on a microphone in front of an audience, and it made me talk about something I knew nothing about. And that sounds crazy, but it's really important when you think about it. Now, let's say this past Saturday night, we're doing Supercross. Let's say we have a crash on the track that keeps them down for half an hour, 45 minutes, while they attend to a rider or fix the racetrack.
Right.
What are you going to talk about?
Fashion show.
You've got to find a way to keep that thing moving for 45 minutes.
Absolutely.
And somewhat interesting, right? So that's talking off the cuff, off the top of your head. And believe it or not, that's where that ladies' fashion show thing came into play. Plus, I got paid a couple bucks every week I did it.
That's fantastic.
There you go.
That is fantastic.
Well, and I also did, I did a lot of races for free over the years just to get more experience. And that's one of the things that makes it difficult for people trying to do this job. They can't necessarily afford to do that.
Right.
Because maybe they got a family to take care of and bills to pay.
No doubt about it. Everybody's got bills. Everybody has their lifestyles and
Right.
responsibilities you have to have. And when you got kids in the mix, that even makes it more of a responsibility because it's not about you anymore. It's about them.
That's right.
No doubt about it.
Very much so.
Yeah, absolutely. National Speed Sport, how's things going along with that, Ralph? I know we chatted a little bit at the Imus show at Indianapolis, and what a big turnout that was. And what's your thoughts of Imus and PRI merging for next year? And man, how's things going with that new venture you've took on? In honor of Chris Economaki.
Yeah, thanks. Things are going great with it. National Speed Sport News is cranking right along. Hopefully all of your listeners have had a chance to check out the magazine and go to the website. The website is nationalspeedsportnews.com. That's really the first place you should start. You can go there. You can check in every day. It's pretty much what the paper was weekly, now daily, right there for free on the website as far as all the breaking news and latest results and what's happening. On that website, you can also find out about how to go about subscribing to the magazine, which now comes out monthly. We have a radio show out there, Speed Sport on Fox Radio. We do Twitter. We do Facebook. We do daily email updates. We've got some TV projects in the work. We have basically turned the most trusted brand name in motorsports journalism into a full-blown media company. So we're getting all that great racing information out there the way they always did, but out on all these different platforms so that you can find it everywhere and anywhere you need to. We've even got the magazine available digitally so you can read it on an iPad or whatever you might use, like a tablet. So it's really kind of cool how that's all going. The fans and the racers are just loving it. This past issue, for the first time in the 79-year history of the brand, we had a Supercross rider on the cover, and I brought a bunch of them out to Anaheim, and the guys are just freaking out over that, to think that National Speed Sport News was actually covering Supercross. We cover everything now on 2 and 4 wheels, and it is the #1 and only place you can go to, whether it's on the web or in the magazine, that literally covers every form of racing from the very top to the very bottom.
And of course, cool, yeah, definitely,
absolutely.
NationalSpeedSportNews.com. Check it out there, and definitely, I like I said, big kudos to you to keeping it going, especially after what a great thing Chris Economaki had. And by the way, also a thank you to giving jobs to people that in the racing business that either got unemployed because of this economy or have not, had the chance to really show their talents of what they can do, writing stories or doing radio or whatever. And you actually made a lot of careers for people doing what you did, bringing back National Speed Sport News.
Well, thanks. Yeah, we're trying. Everybody says, what do you need? And I go, man, all we need is a couple $100 million in subscribers and advertisers, and we'll be all set. It's a constant uphill battle. We never have enough subscribers, and we always need more advertisers. So hopefully, like I said, your listeners have had a chance to check it out and see what we're doing, and if they like it, obviously we encourage you to subscribe to the magazine and keep it going forward. The way I felt about it was that it was just too important of a piece of American motorsports history to just let it go. Right. It needed to be revived and pushed forward, and that's what we're trying to do. The big thing was it needed to be evolved, and we couldn't just let it stay a weekly paper anymore. So that's why we've turned it around a little bit.
You modernized it.
And we appreciate that you did that, brother, because that was, like you said, it was a piece of Americana, and it deserved to be left on board and evolved, and you're doing a great job of it. I have a question for you back on the broadcasting side of things. MAV TV is coming in and it has the backing of Lucas Oil. Do you see them forcing these other networks to step up their game a little bit more, or are they going to be just kind of their own little fringe thing?
Well, I don't know if they're going to push an NBC or a Fox or somebody like that. I mean, it all comes down to households and, how many people you have tuning into your networks and that sort of thing before you can really start pressuring. Now, the more money you got to play with, that can make a big difference too. Now, the folks at Lucas Oil certainly seem to have a bunch of that, but when you're talking about competing against Fox and NBC, well, that's big boy TV there. There's no messing around over there. These are people that go out and bid on the Olympics and spend billions with a B when they start making bids on properties that they don't need to see make money. That's the other part of that thing. You start thinking about ESPN and its association with ABC and all the money Mickey Mouse has. Holy cow!
Yeah.
You know,
Very true.
You got to sell a lot of motor oil to compete with Mickey Mouse. That's all I know.
I think
I think the folks at Lucas Oil and MAV TV are a great addition for us race fans out there because they're putting up a lot of stuff that might not be on some of those other networks. Now, whether or not somewhere down the road they're going to be in the bids for the rights to Formula One, I don't know. But right now, it's a good opportunity to see some other racing that you might not have had a chance to see.
I got a question. Since we're talking about
you cut me off, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Marcus.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah. What do you see for 2013 as a new genre of motorsports coming to the forefront? You know, we've got the X Games that are been pushing forward for a number of years now, and the BMX racing really got showcased during the Olympics this past summer.
Supercross,
Supercross is continuing to grow. Do you see anything out there, Ralph, that's really on the cusp of technology or something that we haven't really seen much of?
Well, I was going to say it's. Even though Wesley mentioned it there, and I don't want to sound like I'm just being a homer here and pushing Supercross because I'm a part of it, but, I mean, the numbers and the stats and stuff speak for themselves. Supercross is absolutely flat-out booming right now. We sold out in Anaheim this past weekend, not a seat open. We'll have over 70,000 in the Georgia Dome in Atlanta coming up in a couple of weeks. That place will be sold out. So it's huge and popular from the West Coast to the East Coast. Did you see, I don't know if you had a chance to see the broadcast, but we put up a bunch of Twitter stuff of the people that are watching, comments from all around the country and stuff.
Right.
We had Jimmy Johnson and Kevin Harvick and Casey Kane and Brent Michaels and Mario Andretti watches all the time. I saw Jason Myers, the two-time World of Outlaw champ there. We had Max Biaggi, the world superbike champion, was there at the races. We had Ben Spies, the world superbike champ. He was there, and MotoGP star Nicky Hayden, MotoGP world champ, was there. I mean, the crowd speaks for itself. When the bigger the names are that are paying attention to it, the bigger the people that are there. I mean, that's where everybody's focus is right now.
So let me ask you this.
Racers appreciate racers. And if racers on the level of Jimmy Johnson and Kevin Harvick and Tony Stewart like that, that tells you there's something serious happening.
And by the way, even musicians like Brett Michaels from Poison.
Yeah, absolutely. but what is going on? If we have that going on in Supercross, if we have the entire dirt genre of late model racing that's growing leaps and bounds.
And we were all at Charlotte. Marcus,
Absolutely.
you were there. I was there. Ralph Shaheen was doing speed.
Packed.
Mike Neff was there. Yes.
Absolutely. What's going on with NASCAR? Why are we seeing so many empty seats, Ralph?
Well, I think what's similar between Supercross and the dirt stuff that you're talking about, like with the World of Outlaws and the late model stuff and all that that's going on around the country, is they're very fan-friendly in their ticket pricing, and the action on the racetrack is very good. And the cost to the racer is, let's say, reasonable, not inexpensive. Let's just go with reasonable, right? You can get out there and if you're a hustler and can get some realistic money together, you can go do that. Pretty hard to be that and go do, a Cup program. Cup ticket prices got out of control. The cost of going to a NASCAR weekend got out of control. Supercross is still a one-day event. So a family can come into town, a lot of times they're coming in from within a 3-hour drive, so they're going in and going home that night. Or if they're staying over, they're not having to stay over for a 4-day minimum of hotel nights or 5 nights as they were doing at some of these places.
Yeah,
all that stuff adds up. People just don't have that kind of money anymore. You can get a ticket for Supercross for as little as $15. incredibly inexpensive, and you can pay that money and sit in Cowboy Stadium in Dallas. Who doesn't want to go there?
Yeah, guys, man, I hate to say it. We've got to wrap it up. My producers are telling me we're coming up on the top of the hour. Ralph, I should just give you a whole dang hour to be on the show.
Well, we'll do that next time.
Absolutely. But, man, thank you so much, Ralph, for being on. Thank you for talking everything about NASCAR, about broadcasting, about, Supercross and everything. And by the way, where is Supercross going to be at next, and when's the next broadcast for you as well?
Chase Field this Saturday night live at 9:30 Eastern, and then I stay right through and work Barrett-Jackson for Speed as well beginning Tuesday night.
I'm so jealous.
Those auto cars.
Love it.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Definitely. And, well, thank you so much, Ralph Shaheen, for being on, buddy.
Thanks,
and we'll
Ralph.
have you
We
back on
appreciate
many
you.
times this year in 2013 when you're available. I know you got a busy schedule.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Ralph Shaheen from Speed Channel and NASCAR on TNT. Man, Mike, we got less than 20 seconds before we go off the air. Wrap it up. What a great show here to kick off.
God, yeah, so jealous he gets to do Barrett-Jackson. Cannot wait to see that. Chili Bowl, the 8th through the 12th. See if Kevin Swindell can win 4 in a row.
There you go.
No doubt about it. Marcus, final things.
Hey.
How do you get ready for the football game tonight?
Yeah, roll Tide, roll, baby.
Roll
God, I hope so, brother. God, I hope so.
Definitely.
Thanks for having me. Sorry I got in a
Thank
little
you
late.
so much to all of the guests we've had on tonight. For Mike Neff, Marcus Morgan, I'm Wesley Outley. And everybody, thank you for tuning in to And the Winner Is Motorsports Show. Remember, replays will be this Friday from 1 to 3 on ETV Live Radio, powered by HD Radio Network. Good night and God bless.